Today we're going to look at yet another Mustang P51D. And this time it's the 1.2 meter from E-Flite, so I have it here. It's a really nice looking RC airplane. I'm just eager to get this one up in the air, so let's go outside to the flying field and let's see what this Mustang P51D is all about. It's a beautiful morning and it's time to get this P51D up in the air. There's a bit of a breeze, but I think I will do okay, so let's get it rolling then. The gears are up. I'm going to start pushing this E-Flite right away, so just make a turn and then go into some aerobatics. Actually pushing the throttle. I'm also staying a bit higher just to be a little bit safer. A few mistakes high. It does respond really well, this E-Flite P51. And I've set my rates to 100% and a 30% exp on all surfaces. So you could say I'm in a bit of a dog fight with myself, pushing it. I would say this plane is not over control, it's just the right amount of control to do 100% rate. It's interesting with this silver finish on the P51. When the sun hits it, it really pops. When it goes into the shadow, it's almost some sort of dark gray. It's a nice sky to actually tell orientation. And a few scattered clouds in the far distance. So 1 minute left on my timer and flaps are deployed. The wind is actually kicking it a bit. And with flaps, it surely does slow down really nice. And it does feel steady. The wing does rock a little bit, but it's due to the wind. Gears are also down. So I'm going to make a turn and then go in for the landing approach. Press down the nose a bit and just flare at the end. It was a nice landing for this maiden. I would say that I really enjoyed this P51D. It's a really nice flying RC airplane. I had really fun and interesting time to fly this E-Flite Mustang P51D. I think it's just a fantastic RC airplane. Of course, it is quite a bit larger and heavier than, for instance, this one, which is my my FMS Mustang P51D 800mm. So this one is really lightweight and small. Excuse me, my E-Flite T28 is giving me some hard time. But let's go back to this one then, the Mustang P51D. I didn't know what to expect when I flew this. And it was a kind of a bit of a scary just to take off from grass, because I know that these warbirds, the tail draggers, they have first of all a tendency to actually nose over because the wheels get stuck in the grass. And on the first attempt I did, it did actually, the nose got down because I used too much throttle and I broke one of the blades, which is too bad. Luckily I had a spare prop with me to the flying field. But once I just had a little bit of gentle push on the throttle, and I just greased the takeoff. It took off so nicely in such a short distance also. So I would say the flying characteristics of this Mustang P51D is that it flies really gentle. There are no over-controlled surfaces. It's just smooth, scale-like flying. It's almost like I want to have more throw on the surfaces, but I mean you can certainly do tight turns and everything. I did this flight on a 3-cell 2200 milliamp battery, which are really nice battery. I used the smart batteries. And if you just look inside, I have the nice cockpit guy. There's a battery tray in this one, so it's the same design which are on the, for instance, the pits, E-Flite pits. And when you get this, there are 2 straps to hold the battery, but I think this takes too much time. So what I did, I had this Velcro strip, which is held by 2 zip ties, and I had the opposite side of the Velcro on the battery, so I just put it on this plate and slide it right into the right groove inside this one as far as forward as I can, and I have it balanced, and it's a really speedy battery change. And that was one thing I did. Another thing I did after the flight was I adjusted the landing gears, because these landing gears, they are not angled forward enough to be really safe on grass. So I put on some washers just to the mount of the landing gears, so the landing gears are actually mounted a little bit more forward, which gives this hopefully a little bit more ability to avoid tipping the nose over when you take off. Because these blades, they are kind of expensive, and it's just too bad if I break too many of them. I actually also got a tip that you can run this on a 2-bladed 12x10 prop, so I would certainly purchase a few and try both, to try the difference between the 4-bladed and the 2-bladed prop. Although I think the 4-bladed prop, if you manage to fly with it, I think the scale appearance of the RC airplane with this prop is so much better. That's why I like all these warbirds to have these 4 or 3-bladed props. As far as flying and flying fast and slow, I think on 3S it's not the fastest RC airplane, and even on 4S I don't think it's super fast. But the thing is, it flies so scale, which is a really nice feature. And with the flaps engaged, which are really large surfaced flaps, it flies so slow. So the problem that I had was to get it down, because when I was supposed to land, it just floated and floated and floated. So eventually I had to push the nose down. And as you saw, I landed on the front landing gears, which is a scale landing. And certainly it is the possibility that you will nose over if you have the wrong angle. But I think the nose over when you actually go down comes when it stops. If you don't go and do anything crazy. So just let it go down, do a flare, and keep the up elevator a little bit up. And then it does actually work really nice. So, I mean, the assembly of this one is really simple, because you have 4 screws to hold the main wing, and you have to run the cables, but all the servos and linkage on the main wing, they are already attached. The rear stabilizer contains of two sides, and you have 1 screw on each side to secure them, and of course you have to attach the linkage. But other than that, of course, the prop, you have to put on the prop and the spinner. But other than that, it's just a super easy RC airplane. And this is also the BNF version, so you just have to bind it and set up your TX. And I use my NX10, which is a super fantastic TX. Especially the display on the NX10 is so much better than the DX8 I had before. So, I mean, there's really nothing bad to say about this RC airplane. It's just a fantastic flying Mustang P51D. It's not the most agile one, but it flies really nice scale, and it looks fantastic. So that's my thought about this E-Flite Mustang P51D.